Hey there, welcome to this episode of Pathways to the Ivies. Today on the show, we have the beautiful junior Vyome Podar. He is pursuing a BBA in entrepreneurships and business analytics tracks at the Babson College. And since he's already 3 years into college, he's going to demystify all the great things he's done as a part of his college, some of which maybe a little unfiltered. We'll have to find out from Vyome. But Vyom, welcome to the podcast. Super happy to have you here and super excited to know about your journey, what led you to Babson, and your years over there since, your experience, and the approach of Babson and all the good stuff. Welcome to the show, Vyom.
Thanks a lot. I'm excited to be here, and I will definitely share some of my stories that have taken place in the past few years. And hopefully, it encourages the people who are listening to this, to do certain things that I've done in my college life, apart from just admissions only.
Wonderful. So I've already introduced you to the audience, but if you can go about go about introducing yourself. Besides this, I went to this college and that major.
Yeah,
Something a little bit about yourself that the audience can know, would know, and you'd like to share.
yeah. So one of the things that people are really surprised to hear about me is that I'm a dancer, and that is one of the main things that got me into college. Like, my entire essay was about dancing and how I express myself with it. So I've been dancing since I was like in seventh grade, which is quite a little later than what most people join a certain activity or a hobby. But it's never too late to join something that you like to do. And I also used to do a lot of art. I have lost the touch of it in college, but that tends to happen in college. You have to prioritize what all things that you like to do. And however, I continue to dance because there's a club at Babson. And apart from that, some of my interests are to play chess. I love to play badminton, and I recently got into pickleball because I'm in America, and it's a really big sport over here. And I think that picking up something like pickleball was a really good decision for me. So I'm excited to talk more about it if required.
Did I hear there is a club at Babson? What kind of a
Yeah.
club are we looking at?
Okay, so it's not like a club that you go to party. It's they're organizations, and it's an organization. So we call them clubs because it's just simpler that way. But basically, there are a few people who run the club, the logistics of it. There's a president, vice president, VP of marketing, or many different roles that are required to get funding from the college. And then these people basically run an operation. For example, for dance, there will be every semester we have a show where students choreograph and other students participate in these dances, and we put on a show for students, for parents, for people around the area as well, and people are welcome to watch the show. So that's the thing that I was talking about before.
Okay, wonderful. So
Hmm.
let's take a deep dive into your college application, which is donkeys years ago. But if you remember, and if you can tell the audience, Babson Entrepreneurship is one of the most revered colleges to be getting into. What
Hmm.
was your academic profile like? Like, what did you do in terms of your HL subjects, your SL subjects, and anything else that majorly stood out academically for you?
I did the IBDP program in 11th and 12th, and before that, I did the IGCSE in ninth and 10th grade. In IGCSE, I did a total of 11 subjects with 7 A stars and 4 A's. In IB, my HL subjects were physics, chemistry, and math AI, HL, all three of those. And my SLs were English language and literature, French, B, and economics. Uh, in My SAT score, I think, was a 1480, I think 1470 or 1480. And Again, I'm a little foggy on the details, and my predicted IB score was a 40. That's what I sent to Babson College.
So I think one of the things I notice here is that you went for an entrepreneurship, but you pursued physics at a higher level, with
Hmm.
math at a higher level, even though it was AI. Why was that decision to do physics? Because usually when people do physics, chemistry, math, or physics and math together, generally the mindset is that I want to go and pursue something which is mostly STEM related, like engineering
Yeah.
or anything. But you went for entrepreneurship, which is not related to STEM. So, what was your mindset, and why did you choose those subjects at an HL level?
My entire high school experience was a roller coaster in terms of what I wanted to do at college. I did like outside. I got outside counselor help as well. I did psychometric tests. I did consultations with counselors outside of my school. I did. I spoke to counselors in my school as well. And basically, what I got from them was a bunch of mixed things. Like my test said that I should definitely look into engineering because I was amazing at physics and maths. My When I went to another counselor, they said that your law reading skills, like legal reading, is not that easy because it's more in a passive voice, and there's a lot of long sentences that are broken up with commas and stuff like that. But I was able to read those and determine whether a legal situation applies. So I was told that you could consider a law college later on. There were some expectations from the family members as well, that maybe into medicine or maybe go into a certain, like a completely non-academic field, such as acting, because we have connections, and my family members are directors and stuff like that. And since I used to dance, it could have been an easy transition. But basically, what I understood from all of this confusion is that I want to keep my options open, whether it is to go into something like a computer science business, or go into starting a law firm. All of these ideas basically gave me the vision that I should be into business, because I can keep my roots open, keep my options open, so that whether if I'm in business, I can go into a computer science business, start make like a startup, or I could go into like work with other lawyers to start something up. So in that way, I would be able to have I would have a certain amount of everything. And I've seen my dad; he's a businessman, and how he works, how he operates, and it was quite appealing to me. So that's why I chose a business degree.
Wonderful. A very important point you bring up here is being uncertain about what you wanted to do with
Hmm.
your life. And that is a question that a lot of students your age, at least at that point in time in your 11th and 12th grade, are not certain about what do you want to do with your life, right? Like you like a little bit of everything, and then you don't like a bit of everything. Like things that are there are things that you like, and there are things that you don't like, and it's kind of, I quite honestly find that a very confounding journey, because you don't know what you want to do. And so you have to make that decision that, okay, I need to know what to do, which is, I don't think, a realistic expectation. But what's your take on somebody who is confused, who doesn't know what they want to do with their life, and how can they navigate that territory?
So for everyone who's worried about what to do in college and which field to go into, don't worry about it. I was like you when I was in high school, and I think the main thing that you have to focus on is whether you can do the thing that uh, whether you can do a certain thing for the rest of your life, or maybe the next 10 years of your working career. I myself was very confused, where I had three different or four different areas of study that I wanted to go into, including engineering, being a lawyer, going into med school. But I thought of it in this way, where to keep my options open, and I landed on a business degree where I could go into law school after doing business. And I have experimented with that at college. I've taken a couple of law classes, contract building and business law and ethics, and I've also looked into some AI classes so that I can look at that computer engineering aspect that I wanted to pursue. And in these ways, you can always explore certain things that you might have left behind in high school. But it's completely okay to be a little confused in high school about what you want to do at college.
Wonderful. All right. So, can you talk about the different internships that you did as a part of your undergraduate profile? What were they, and how did they help you zero down your major?
Okay. So I have done a few internships after coming to college. The one I did in my freshman year summer was at a law firm called Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. It was part of, I had taken business law and ethics in my second semester of my freshman year, and I wanted to look into whether I want to go get into law school or not, try and apply, see how living in the law world feels like. And essentially, what my internship entailed was giving a presentation on the legal aspects of of privatization of public firms into like as the name suggests. And at the time, the Air India airline was being privatized or had just completed privatization, and it was a big thing where the government wanted to privatize many of the inefficient public firms. And basically, I had to give a presentation about how to select public firms in public entities in the government, and whether or not they should be privatized, how they should go about privatization, what the legal aspects of the privatization would be. Would the 51% of the company go to the private firm that buys out the thing so that they have complete control, or determine what the equity valuation, the equity balance should be like? And in these ways, it was a very enriching experience because I was able to see what how reading laws feels like, and how to apply those laws, and determine if something is legal or not, whether a certain action can be taken by a company. And it not only helped me with determining whether I want to be a lawyer or not, or apply for law school. It also taught me real life skills where if I start a business tomorrow and I want to buy out a firm, how I would go about that, whether I can do certain things or not. So try to do uh, internships or do any kind of work that will add value no matter what. And the way to engage, the way to determine whether or not it'll add value is by like making a list, like a simple list of pros and cons, like what all this could be. Obviously, it's you can't tell whether or not a certain internship will help you definitely, but it's always a good idea to try and evaluate how much ever you can. Try to talk to some of the more experienced member people in your vicinity, and in these ways you can get a good internship or a lot of value out of an internship.
Wonderful. So now let's transition to the part which I think a lot more viewers will be more excited about is your experience at the Babson. So there is this cloud of respect, reverence, and curiosity
Mm-hmm.
that I see people have for students who want to study at Babson, right? And
Mm-hmm.
who want to get into specifically entrepreneurship because that's one of the most sought after, concentrations at Babson. So,
Yeah.
what was that experience like about, once you like got to studying at Babson? What is that experience like for somebody like yourself? In a very brief manner, we'll talk about uh, the study pattern and the experiences and the clubs and all of that in the later part, but just very briefly.
I think coming to Babson was a great choice for me, and I enjoyed thoroughly. I have been enjoying my entire academic experience at Babson. The classes are amazing. The things that they teach us are generally relevant to what's gonna happen, or like whatever choice of whatever field you choose. There are a bunch of foundational classes, so you don't have to worry for the first 2 years of your college experience about what classes to pick. Oh no, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing something? Is this class going to add value or not? And then once you've done those 2 years of classes, you can then in the next 2 years decide, oh, I want to pick a little bit of finance, I want to pick a little bit of real estate, I want to pick a little bit of contract building in based on legal. And these are some of the classes that I myself am pursuing as in my junior year, and I have pursued in the past. And then you get, it's a very easy way, the process is very easy to follow, and you can easily determine what concentrations you want to do. People come to college very confused as well, but I think Babson is one of the better colleges when it comes to like picking out your classes and knowing what you want to do, in my opinion.
Wonderful. A lot of people tell me that I don't know if all classes or a few classes or a few subjects in Babson have a case study based approach, meaning it's not a very regular, a midterm and term kind of a process, right? It's more about taking a case study and,
Yeah.
doing stuff. So if you can elaborate on what does a case study approach mean at Babson 1, and 2,
Mm-hmm.
what is the best case study that you've done so far, which you read and you solved and you probably excelled at?
Yeah. So the case study approach, essentially what we do is that we're assigned a reading before a section of the class. So our classes usually have like either they're called session one, session two, session three, or they're broken up into modules. And a certain module will entail a certain case study. And in that case study, we will have to read the case study, analyze what the issue in the case study is. It depends on the class, obviously, what you're focusing on the study, but usually it is analyzing the issue, finding what the issue is, and then looking at what parties are involved in this case study, looking at what the capabilities of the parties are and what they can do to solve the issue, and then funneling it into a way of finding an issue where you find many different ideas, try and pick out the pros and cons, say that this idea does not work because of this reason, this doesn't work, and basically form a funnel where the main idea that you want to present about goes through. And at Babson, there are many classes, whether it's operations, whether it's IT, whether it is simulations modeling. And in each of these classes, there are a plethora of case studies that take place. One of my favorite case studies was quite recently, where it involved a lot of numbers. And as I mentioned in my academics in high school, I used to love math, and that's why I love this case study. Involved a trucking company talking about how they have to pick up certain items from the port authorities and deliver it to different companies and different people, and the operations of that truck company, and how they need to find out the optimal point of how many trucks they want, how to make profit, how to make sure that they do not pay too much fees to the port authority for any leftover inventory, and in general determine how they can run their operations. And the class that I'm taking right now, is a simulations modeling class. So essentially, we use Excel to run 1,000 or 10,000 simulations of this situation, and then determine what on average, in those 10,000 simulations, let's say we had 20,000 tons of inventory that was left over at the authority. Okay, so if there were 20,000 on average, that means that most of the time, or like usually use something called a normal distribution, where the mean is the most likely situation in that distribution. And then you use that to determine that, okay, so if there are 20,000 tons left and I need only 40 trucks, I will be okay with giving a fees of 20,000 times whatever the fee amount per ton is, and then use that truck and continue my operations, because that is a better alternative than buying more trucks or taking more loan so that I can get more trucks, because I will never be able to pay back that amount of loan. So in these ways, we analyze the case studies and are able to determine which way to go ahead in a real life business example.
Okay. Perfect. So I think it's so good to know that it's not just very theoretical, but you also get to put your head to it. And of course, there are many solutions to the same problem, but you also
Yeah.
get to hear other people's solution. Now, tell me something. When you got into your first year, tell me something about the Babson College, which stood out. Like, what kind of what kind of subjects are there? What kind of concentrations are there in your very first year? How are you supposed to pick out subjects? And stuff like that.
So when you get to your first year, your subject selection takes place before you come to college. So in that summer period, after you've given your exams, 2 months or a month before that, you get a registration list with all the courses listed. And you have every student throughout their college time is assigned to an advisor, who you can talk to them about what courses are there, what courses you should take. And in the first 2 years, or maybe first year and the first semester of the second year, there are foundational courses that you have to take, because those are like those are like your math, English, and science of middle school, where you have to do those classes, and then you have choices in other fields. So you have to do these foundational courses, and these are the ones that will help you determine what you want to do later. When I came to Babson, in my first year, there was a class called AQM 1000. It's basically an analytics class, and you use certain softwares and determine certain business situations again, or questions about how you should approach. But there was a more of a simpler class compared to what I just explained. Essentially, how you perform in these classes, how your motivation is in these classes, how your grades are, how much you enjoy in these classes will help be able to you'll be able to tell that, okay, I'm enjoying myself in this field. I think I can do this for a long period of time. So I should concentrate in this. Obviously, it's a combination of what you like and what you're doing well in. Sometimes what you enjoy a lot, you can not be doing well in because the subject inherently is difficult. So that's nothing to worry about that. That was with me in my B law class. I love legal reading, but the class itself was quite subjective because it involved writing about cases. And when you're writing a lot, you might miss out on points or take a different approach, which a normal lawyer would not take, and that is because of the creative element and because you've not been trained in that area yet. So in that ways you could get demotivated. Oh, I did not do well because of this. But there are certain things that are like MCQs and stuff like that that are very easy. So it's always possible to continue as long as you're motivated in the class. So in that way it is a very simple process at Babson.
Wonderful. So, from what I understand, in the first 2 years, or at least the first 3 semesters, you have a few foundational courses that make
Yeah.
you, like, kind of expose you to everything. What happens then?
After that, once you know what you want to do, there are 27 different concentrations at Babson, ranging from business analytics, entrepreneurship, real estate, finance, um, supply chain management, operations management, IT. There's a bunch. Like, I can't possibly name all of them because I've not even considered all of them. I knew when I came in my first year that, okay, cool. These are the 5 things that I might want to do, and I'll cut it down between them. So, and then each of those concentrations have certain classes that are required to do in order to achieve that concentration. So, like currently, I'm doing 3 business analytics classes, and all 3 of these will give me my business analytics concentration. So, there are criteria for that, and by doing these classes, you're checking off all the criteria.
Is there
That's
an
how you
upper,
go about. Yeah.
yeah, is there an upper cap to the number of concentrations a person can excel in, or this is like, because you said 27 concentrations, that's too
Yeah.
wide.
Yeah. So you will get credit for only two, but you can do more classes. You can stay in college for longer. You can overload on classes. So in a normal semester at Babson, looks like 4 classes. Each of them are worth 4 credits in general, and a total of 16 credits per semester. But after your first semester, if you have there's a GPA threshold. I'm not sure what it is, but if you're above that threshold, you can overload and do 5 classes, or you can do 4.5 classes. Basically, 4.5 classes is where the half class is you do it only for half the semester and you only get 2 credits for it. So, in these ways, you can accelerate your study at Babson in the first few years, and then maybe in your senior year or junior year, you can take fewer classes and or 3 classes only because that's the minimum requirement, and then take classes that you really want to do, focus more on, study more, maybe talk to the professor, get a research going with them. It all depends on what your progress has been and what you want to do in the future. So all of those things, in for me, I kind of figured it all out as I went along. But my advice would be that talk to your student success advisor. That's what they're called at Babson. They will really guide you. And we also have a center for career development where you can go in, show your resume. You can talk about, oh, I've done these classes. I want to do more with this class because I learned a certain software in this class. Like for example, in my analytics class, I learned a software called R Studio. It uses the programming language, and I'm using that to at a potential startup that I'm working on. So in these ways, it's quite easy to apply whatever you've done in any of these classes and determine which way you want to go. So just uh, try and get help when you're at college because there are many resources at every college, not necessarily at Babson only, but yeah, I think that would be your way to go at college.
Wonderful. Could you also tell our viewers something about Babson that is not commonly out on the web, but you experienced it firsthand at Babson, and you're like, "Wow, I just didn't know this."
One of the things that surprised me at Babson was the FME course that runs in your freshman year. In your first semester, you brainstorm ideas with a group of 3 other people and essentially determine whether or not a certain business idea is viable or not. And then slowly you're put into larger groups where ideas are funneled into 3 or 4 major ideas in the classroom. and you are put into a group of 10 or maybe 12 people, and you essentially plan out running that idea as a business. And in the second sem, you actually launch the business itself. It is an amazing experience because you run the business end to end, and you actually see how you can start up your own business in the real world. Because most entrepreneurs have trouble in the initial stages, and it boosts your confidence and gives you the ability to think in a way of as if you can actually do the startup yourself. So I think it's an amazing experience, whether it is going to the city and setting up a pop-up store for your business, or just running marketing campaigns on Instagram itself. I think that this is one of the best courses at Babson.
What can you also debrief our viewers and listeners about some of your stories at Babson? Like, fun stories, not that fun stories, all kinds of stories.
I think I will talk about some of the things that were concerns for, as well as some of the things that were great at Babson. When I came to Babson, obviously, some of the first few things that you have to do is set up a bank account, set up your emails. You have to set up a bunch of things so that you can go around and like, because everything requires money. You set up your Uber accounts and stuff like that. And one of the first experiences where, well, I was not as worried, but my parents were, because I was stuck at a Target store with no Ubers available around me, and the only Uber that was available was cancelled because the money was charged to my dad's card, and they were blocking it in India because it was an international transaction. So I was stuck over there for about an hour or so, and it was actually a good experience for me, because I was able to talk to people around, and I was telling them what's going on with me, and they were giving me suggestions, if you can call someone up. So the only good thing that I had going for me at the time was that I had set up my carrier system. So I was able to call up my roommate after about half an hour, because he was, I think I'm not sure what happened to him, but he was busy. And then my roommate booked me an Uber. I had to coordinate, and I eventually got back to Babson. And it was a fun story, because some people think that, oh, you have to be really careful. You have to be like, oh no, I have to do this, I have to do that. But there's help all around. And one good thing that was one thing that was good for me was my first year roommate was very chill. He was amazing. We had some great times, going to, whether it was going to parties or like hanging out, playing basketball. One time, when we were celebrating Holi in our freshman year, we played basketball and a bunch of other sports when we were like dirty from the Holi colors, and that was an amazing experience. Playing Holi with Americans was another good story to tell, because they had like some of my friends who are from here had never played Holi, and they were like, "Oh, what's the significance of this? What's that?" And then we were putting colors on their face and like just chasing them around, and it was a lot of fun, like how we play in India, but it's it's a different experience with people who've never done it before. And the traveling around in America, going to in my I think in my sophomore year, I went to Puerto Rico, and it was a crazy experience, because Puerto Rico is like one of the party places, the beach areas, and great weather. I live outside of Boston, and we don't really have good weather all year round. It's very cold most of the time. As a matter of fact, it's April right now, and it's snowing, which is very unusual, but it's that's Boston for you. So traveling around, whether it's just going to New York City or going to Rhode Island, or just like we've gone to the casino a bunch of times. So these are like some of the places that I've really enjoyed myself, and had some of my best memories.
Wow, that's so good to know. How about safety concerns? Is Babson safe? Because it's not Boston. Sometimes you're a little far away from the main campus or main city. Sometimes a lot of people are concerned that may not be that safe. What's your take on the safety at Babson, just generally for anybody who aspires to get there?
So a lot of the colleges in America have like a boundary where they have a wall, so you can't enter without identification. Babson does not have that. We're an open campus because we're in the suburbs. So that might you might think that, oh, it's very unsafe because anyone can enter, but that's not really the case, because the area it is situated in, it's the Wellesley area. It's relatively one of the safest neighborhoods in the area. Although we've had like So in America, you have a certain alert system that comes on your phone because you're connected to the carrier, and if there's certain incidents going on, if there's like a kidnapping or something, it'll show up on your phone, and you'll be like, okay, be aware, in this area there was a kidnapping. This is the suspect, what they look like. So in that way, you can obviously be safe, but America obviously has their gun violence issues and stuff like that. So if you're traveling to New York City for like a break or something, I would definitely tell you to be careful because there can be pickpockets anywhere. You can get like mugged or something, which is still possible even in Boston City. But it's all about being in the right places. Like if you're going down a dark alley somewhere in the middle of the night, no place is safe. So you have to be like smart about it and make sure that you don't put yourself in a position where you can easily be in trouble. So taking care of yourself comes first. Apart from that, safety at Babson in terms of parties and drinking and all of that kind of stuff, Babson has a very lenient policy because they know, even though you might be underage, uh, the college knows that college students party, they drink alcohol, they use substances, and they have policies in place where if your friend is in a bad situation, if they're too drunk or they're too high or something like that, you can call up uh, the Babson police. They will come help you, provide you with medical assistance. They will take you to the hospital or whatever, and you and the person involved are completely safe of any like any probation or something like that. Like any, you're not in trouble. Like you'll be fine. You won't have legal issues, or you won't have like you won't go to jail. So that way, it's quite safe. So like because you might have the idea that, oh, if I call this person up and they're sick and that the police see me that I'm drinking alcohol, they're drinking alcohol, they're too done for or whatever, and but that's not the case. Like you'll be safe. So uh, drinking responsibly and just knowing what you're doing properly in the when you're around other people, you can easily be like, you'll be safe, you'll be fine.
Wonderful. And what about internships at Babson? Have you had any internships while studying at Babson because you're already in the junior year? And how can one go about finding these internships?
So in my current times, it's a little difficult because of AI. All the companies are like uh, they're laying off people. Unemployment rates are high. The interest rates are high. So most companies are not really taking on international students as well because it's a difficult market, and but Babson does help you out. They have a lot of we have a career fair every semester where uh, recruiters from different companies come to the career fair, talk to you, they'll see your resume. It's quite formal and stuff like that, and you can talk to them about anything. You can talk to them, oh, I'm an international student, this is my story, but don't bore the recruiter. It's the same way as an admissions officer who comes to college. You can't talk to them for like, oh, I have this grade, that grade. You have to give that catchy thing about yourself, and that's what the recruiter also wants. So um, it's a similar process in that way, but obviously a little way more formal and way more like professional. So in those ways, Babson does help. We also have a lot of conferences. Like right now, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., there's a young entrepreneurs conference going on with one of the business tracks or something like that. I'm not sure. Like I went for a bit, but I think there was some issue. But anyways, so there are a lot of conferences, there are a lot of events. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do to increase your chances of getting an internship. But and I don't think that like you should be like feel bad that you didn't get an internship, because obviously you can come back to India, you can get an internship in India, and you can also do summer classes. You can also work on like improving your skills. Like this, like in May when I went back in India, I didn't actually do any internship. I started learning how to trade in the stock market, and that has been a tremendous success for me. And I've been trading for the past year, and I'm about to complete my 1 year of trading, and I will be determining how much profits I've made. So you can always find something to do that will add value to your life. And I think, and I'm not like trying to promote trading or anything, but it is a very good hobby to have. Like if you start trading like in your freshman year of college, in 4 years you could like I don't know, triple your money or something like that if you're like properly trading. So it's always a good skill to have. Like I would be like, like I've been trying to convince all of my friends to start trading, and it's like you can fund your own spring break and not even feel guilty about asking your parents for money. That's exactly what I did this semester, where I funded my own spring break. So it's always a good idea to like find ways of getting money at college as well.
How much money have you made with the trading in the last year? Ballpark, I
So
know
I'm
you.
not going to say it in terms of money. I'm going to talk in terms of percentages. So since I was doing options trading, my initial capital, I was down 40 to 50% initially when I was learning and I was experimenting. But that's how the curve of trading is. Initially, there's a very strong dip, and then you pick back up once you start learning. And most people quit at that dip. So you have to be diligent, follow a system, and then start trading. And currently, I'm up 30% on my capital, but that also includes a lot of my expenses that I've spent out. So I'm not counting those, like my spring break, I funded it and stuff like that. So I'm 30% up on my capital right now.
Wow, wonderful. So this brings me to a very important question, right? I've known you, Vyom, I've known your family and all of that, right? But and
Yeah,
you come from pretty privileged family. Money isn't that big an
yeah.
issue. But what's your take? Like for example, in your case, you learn how to do trading and stuff like that. And internship, if you got in, yes, it was great. But American markets are usually very fluctuating, meaning it's always sinusoidal.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just so up,
Yeah.
and it's just pumped
Mhm.
up with jobs and internships, and then there's a down like this where people are being laid off, you're not getting internships. So would you advise a student who has to leverage more than 50% of his academics at a university abroad, like undergraduate studies at a university abroad, he or she has to
Mhm.
take a bank loan and then fulfill that bank loan in a time like this where um, you may or may not be able to get a job, get an internship, fund yourself. What's your take on people who have to get bank loans and get to their education? Is it advisable, or they rather stay back in India, study here for a few years, and then come there for masters, which is a cheaper way out? What do you think on this?
I think that the concept of taking a loan to study is that it's difficult to tell which answer is the best, because it all depends on your major as well, because certain majors have like, oh, you can only get a job, and um you will only start making money after a certain amount of years, and you won't be able to pay back that loan. But it's not a bad idea to take a loan, but you should also explore certain options that at for example, at Babson, there's financial aid. If you really need money and your parents or whoever is sponsoring you would have sponsored you or cannot sponsor you anymore, uh, Babson will help you out. They will help you out with a scholarship, or they will help you out with just financial need where you can get a full ride to college. And I think that's one of the first things that you should check before you go for a bank loan, where based on your certain skill, on your excellence in certain areas, you can get a loan, and you can get aid, not a loan, but you can get aid from the college and apply for all the scholarships that are at any college that you're applying to. Like, it's whether you'll have to maybe write an extra essay, or you'll have to talk about something, you'll have a couple of interviews, but it's definitely worth it to get a scholarship rather than getting a financial, like a loan. But even if you're taking up a loan, uh, it's not a bad idea, because at the end of the day, you will learn something that will give you a result. And I think the student loans are at a lower interest rate as well. So it's not that of much of a problem compared to a normal loan, but I'm sure it can still be a burden. But I think you'll come here, you'll have a campus job if you can get one. You can get like technically this should be off the record, but you can tutor students for a little bit of money here and there, and slowly those things multiply. Like, it starts growing. You put it in a savings account, you can get like 5% or something like that in a year. Like, you can collect money and use that to pay back the loan, if not anything, if nothing else, if you're not spending it all or something like that. But it based on your field, like for example, if you're getting into med school, you will become a doctor, right? If you survive through the entire thing, you'll become a doctor. You will start making money. For living in the US, it's a big amount of money depending on what field you're going into. I think neurosurgery is like, neurosurgeons earn like $700,000 a year or something like that. So That's would definitely be enough. It all so you definitely have to conduct an evaluation whether it's worth taking a loan or not. Because at the end of the day, like I'm at a business school, and we've been told when you're taking money from someone, you're taking a loan, even if it was for business, you have to figure out a way to pay it back before you take the loan. And with college, that is a big decision, because you don't actually know what you're going to do at college that will help you pay it back, right? So you should definitely look into financial aid at your college first, then look at scholarships, and then consider taking a bank loan. And like I mentioned before, like if you can start investing in the stock market and at an early age, you could actually fund your own right to college. Like even if you're starting with a smaller capital of like 50,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees, you can increase, like if you start at the age of like, let's say 15 or 16, when you're starting as your IB thing, in 2 years you could easily make like a lot of money using futures trading. And you could, if not your entire right to college, you could at least fund a couple of semesters, so that that bank loan is not as hefty and not as much of a burden. So it's all about being able to tell where your the money for the bank loan comes from to pay it back.
Wonderful. And any closing comments for the students who are applying? I know this interview will actually be an eye opener to them in terms of
Mhm.
their aspirations for Babson. But like give us 5 tips to students who want to apply to Babson as a part, or
Mhm.
will be applying to Babson in this cycle, right? What are the 5 things that they should keep in mind while applying on their application?
So first thing, that have a good mix of academics and extracurriculars. I know that is very generic advice, but most people who think that, oh, Babson is number one for entrepreneurship, I need to have the perfect grades. That's not needed. I had a 40 predicted in my IB, and I got in because I had very good extracurriculars according to Babson. I had dance, I had art, I had a bunch of stuff going on with helping underprivileged kids, and I had a, I had a few things. I had my Photoshop and Illustrator skills to show that I'm passionate about whatever I want to do. It's essentially you demonstrate that you have interest in a bunch of things in those academics and your extracurriculars, and you should be good to come to Babson. Second thing, try and pick something out of Babson in your essays. Like for example, I my entire essay was about me expressing myself through dance, how it gives me confidence, how it gives me motivation. Dance, I'm not sure if it's scientifically proved, but dance has a healing power. A lot of people say that, and I think it's absolutely true. So you should pick. So in my essay, I wrote about the Babson Dance Ensemble organization or club, and I use that to say that, oh, I want to be at Babson because of this. Or pick something at Babson. Like, for example, you can pick a business frat that is at Babson and why that's good. Or you pick anything that at Babson, demonstrate why you need to be there, right? How it's gonna help you in the future, like how it helps you fulfill your goals. Like I said that I want to keep dancing for the rest of my life, and most people who come to college either leave out on their extracurriculars or their hobbies, and dance is like more than a hobby to me, and I don't want to leave it. So I want to be at Babson so that I can be in this dance group and perform every semester. So in these ways, you can say that you can show why you want to be at Babson. Like make yourself a part of Babson so that they can just be like, okay, here's the entry pass or whatever. The third tip I would be like, talk to admission officers. If Babson admission officers come to college, to your school, um, just just say what your journey is. Talk to them. Be friendly. Don't burden them with any with like the facts and stuff like that. Be make it conversational. Make it a little casual. Obviously, that doesn't mean that you go around saying random stuff. They still want you to see who you are. So try and demonstrate that. Uh, but that doesn't mean that you can't crack a casual joke with them. They definitely enjoy it. People in America are very open about having a casual conversation, and it definitely helps if you have like some kind of reference that everyone knows about, like a TV show or maybe like some kind of sports thing, depending on who the admission officer is and what they like. But there's certain generic things that everyone knows about. I think more than two more specific points, I would say that um, don't stress too much about your college application, because if you stress too much, then you're gonna be like, oh no, is my essay good? Is my essay not good? Oh my God, what is happening here? Did my application go out on time? Am I in this loop? Try be a little more calm about it. I know it can be difficult, but if you're calmer, you'll be able to work better, because if you have a certain system in place, okay, I'm 4 weeks away from the deadline for my college essay. I started my first week. I on let's say on the Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I finish writing my first draft. Leave it for 2 3 days. Come back to it. Do this for 2 weeks, where you take 2 3 alternate days. Then you'll have a good final draft from your side. Then make people read your essays, your mom, your dad, because those are the people who know you best. You can go to your aunts, uncles, whoever you're close to, um, so, and then they will be able to tell you, oh, I like this. Oh, that seems a little weird to me. Oh, this is great, and stuff like that. And that's how you can build upon your application. Take advice from your counselors. I think in my school, my counselor looked at my main app essay only, not my supplemental essays for every college, because that's too much work. But if you go early to them, they'll have more time. If you go later to them, they'll have lesser time and they won't be willing to help, right? Uh, and as part of the SAT and ACT scores, start early. I started, I think, the starting of my 11th grade. I took, and at the time it was COVID time, so I think it was very difficult to get attempts in, but I'm sure it's eased up by now. So you have a chance to give multiple attempts. But I think that if you work hard enough, and you can clear in your first attempt. Like at that time, SAT, I took the SATs, and at that time it felt like, oh my God, what, like this is going to be difficult. I need to work for it. But if you have another system in place, okay, I'm going to work on an SAT paper twice every week, and slowly, gradually complete, start building on it, do some practice exercises, you will be fine. Like it's all about timing your everything in high school, because high school, especially IBDP, can be very stressful as well, because there's so much stuff going on. So procrastination is something that you should just like keep it away. Like procrastinate procrastination. Like be like that. Just like get started with it early, and you should be fine.
Wonderful. I think I have last two questions for you related a
Hmm.
little bit to high school. So you mentioned something about SAT, which caught my ear, and you mentioned you should start preparing for it early.
Yeah.
Now with a lot of schools going test optional, right? And again, some of
Hmm.
them going back to test mandatory. What's
Yeah.
your take on this entire test, SAT or ACT, whichever test you plan to take?
Whichever.
Should
Yeah.
you take the test? Is it beneficial according to you on your application?
I think the higher you aim in terms of college rankings, the more important it gets. I mean, people say that they're test optional, but it always like like a 1550 just puts you in a bracket. Like certain colleges are just like, oh, this number is not at this level. This, okay, you're out. Like it is the truth. Like if you want to get into like like a high level college or like an Ivy or something, they have like a minimum threshold. So, and about getting started early, some people start in like ninth grade. Like I have a friend, her sister is already, she's in like 11th grade now, but she's already started preparing for it in like the ninth or the 10th grade, which is like bonkers, because you haven't learned the stuff that is there in the SATs. So like don't be that scared of it. It's not like a test that will test your life. Like it's not a test of life. It's like just a test for like testing how good you are at math and English. Like it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. And if your college that you're aiming for is test optional, it's completely okay. You don't need to send in that. If the test mandatory, uh, obviously then you have to take the test. And if you're aiming higher, then definitely take one of the tests.
Wonderful. And what were the other admits you had while you got into Babson? What was there on the table? And what was your thought process of eliminating them and getting finally saying, hey, Babson is for me?
Hmm. Okay, so I think I had when I applied to Babson with early action. So at the time I had Ohio State University, I had Boston College, I had a deferred, I think from BU and UPenn.
You had
I
UPenn.
think BU had an like a EA. I'm not, I don't remember, but one of them. And so I had UPenn on the line, and I had deferred. So that was my early decision. So if I got in there, I would go there. But I got deferred, and then later on, I got rejected in the regular decision. So the only issue there was I didn't really try to improve my application, because I was already very happy with Babson. Babson is a smaller school, and in high school, I was relatively introverted. So I was not ready to deal with like tons of people all across campus being that social. So Babson was a better choice for me. And I till date, like, I have a smaller friend circle. I don't go out with like this group, that group, go this here, there, that too much. And I'm enjoying my college life with with the bunch of people that I hang out with normally. So it's not like you have to. It's not like you have to be so imminent on that.
I think one of the very important things that you brought up here is a good fit, right? So you're very clear you don't want to go to a bigger college. You want to go to a smaller
Mhm.
college, which is, I mean, smaller as in relative to UPenn, right? It was a much bigger
Yeah,
college.
like Babson only has 3,000 students in total, whereas some colleges have like what 20,000, 15, 25,000 people.
Yeah, yeah,
So.
fair. So how do you, I think what I want you to tell our viewers is the importance of a good fit, because every time, anytime a student comes in, they always just talk about the ranking, the college, the
Mhm.
course. That's
Yeah.
about it. Nobody just assesses that, oh, the fit is probably more important than this because you're going to feel
Mhm.
isolated. So if you can just talk
Yeah.
to our viewers and let us know why is a fit so important.
I think one of the best ways that you can judge fit with is taking a campus tour. If you have the opportunity, grab on. Like, I would 100% suggest taking a campus tour because you'll be able to see what you can do every day at college. Like if I like I got lucky because I did not take a camp. I was It was the COVID like because of COVID there were no campus tours going on at the time. But like when I came to Babson, I was like, okay, this is the sports area, this is the dance area, this is where I can eat food, this is where my dorm is, everything is accessible. I will have things to do at Babson. I will have things to do in general. So these are the kind of things that you have to assess. Like at this college, let's say you're going to a certain college and you don't have access to a thing that you really like to do, then you're gonna get demotivated. That's gonna get cut out of your life, and then that will start affecting other things. It's a very good chance that once you lose out on something, other things that get started other things get affected. And that's one of the ways in which you can tell if you're a good fit in the college or not. And it's really important to know that, because and even if you're not able to get a campus tour and you're not able to tell whether there'll be certain things in your vicinity or not, you can always transfer to a different college in your after your first year, but provided that it's like the same major or your credits transfer, which is not that big of a deal, because once you're in that first year, then you can use that first year to explore those colleges that you are considering to transfer in. So in those ways you can actually determine, oh, if I'll be a better fit here or there. But give a genuine try. Like if you're just gonna sit in your room all day and be like, oh, I have no friends, I have no social life, that's not how that works. You have to go out, you have to be open with people. And even if you're an introvert, don't be like, oh no, people gonna judge me, oh, is something gonna happen. Like everyone is open in their freshman year. Everyone has the same insecurity as you. Oh, am I going to make friends or not? So everyone is open to making friends. So like if you just go up to them and like even in your hallway, like you're gonna see people every day walking through, coming out of the bathroom or like just walking by to class. Just be like, hey, what's up? My name is this. What's your name and stuff like that. People are very open, and slowly you'll be like from a nod, it'll go to names, what's up, and then the next thing it'll be like, oh, you're watching a basketball game at night. Like it's that easy. You'll be like talking to them about something, or it'll be like, oh, let's go play tennis or something. That's how I did it in my freshman year. My roommate was a big tennis player. He used to coach people for tennis over the summer, and I had a bit of background in tennis. So I was like, okay, let's go play tennis. And then we met two more people. We started playing doubles with them, and then I found out that they're really good at like video games. One of the games I used to play Clash Royale. So then I bonded with them over that video game, and then slowly it became. And then turns out we were close to each other in our dorm, so we used to hang out a lot together. And then on the floor below me, I met two of my friends that I'm like really tight with now. And they were, again, we met in the common room in the basement, where there was one of the RAs. The RAs are like people who take care of you. They're not really take care of you, they're students too. They just like handle uh, the students on your floor. they had organized like an event for like food or something, and turns out we were the only three people there. And like, to be fair, they were the ones who like started talking to me. But any like, nevertheless, like, you can see that other people are also interested in making friends, and that's how you can slowly get to know more people. And if nothing else, you can just join like different organizations, apply for organizations. Once you're in an organization, like I was in the Babson, I joined Babson Dance Ensemble in my first semester. I met so many people. There's like 60 people, 70 people at the time. Some of them have graduated now, which is like, okay, cool. Like those were my best bonds. But as new people come in, still be open to talking to them, and then you'll have a bunch of friends in that club. And then like I said, it's a chain. So you meet someone somewhere, then it gets down to meeting someone somewhere. Like even with pickleball, I started playing pickleball because I met someone at the basketball courts. And then he was like, "Oh, I have a pickleball company." And I'm like, "Hey, my mamu is a pickleball player." So you, something or the other, you're gonna find a connect, and you'll be fine. Like it's nothing to worry about.
Yep. And one thing that you mentioned here is transferring.
Yeah,
Like not from Babson to some place else, but from some other place to maybe Babson. You must have had people who
yeah,
joined you in your third year.
yeah,
So, and of course, you may have seen a few of your friends who may have moved from Babson to some other college, depending on
yeah.
whatever their dreams and aspirations were. So,
Mhm.
another thing that people think is, like, your college actually doesn't help you with the transfer. But my
Yeah.
understanding is that, your counselors at college and whatever you call them in your local terminology, do help you understanding how many credits are transferable, how many credits are
Yeah.
non-transferable, and what, like, they can even give you a list and stats of all the schools that the students have transferred to from Babson. They don't hold that back.
Hmm.
So is that true? And what's your take on that? Like, how can you use your stuff
Uh,
at college to get facilitate an effective transferring process?
so I know for a fact that they do tell you what credits are transferable or not. I don't know about the stats thing because I never had the intention of transferring out, so I never spoke to them about it. But I'm sure they will give out the stats. They're not that big on like, oh, we need to keep our students. Like, we're not gonna help you go out of here. It's not like it's not prison. It's a college. Like you're gonna get help everywhere. They're gonna be like, yeah, okay, you want to, it's not a good fit for you. We understand. You can go if you want to go here. Okay, these credits will transfer. These will not. Stuff like that. So you will get help. Talk to your if you're coming to Babson, they're called student success advisors. You can talk to them. You can go to the Center of Career Development. These are just terms for Babson specifically. If you want to know, they might be similar terms in another college as well. So it's around. It's pretty similar in every college.
Correct. So any parting words for our viewers, for audience, for
Mhm.
anybody who's going to watch you and probably even reach out to you in the near future to ask you questions about Babson? Any parting words that you'd like everybody else to know?
Uh, Enjoy at college. Don't only focus on studies. Drink responsibly. And yeah, just try to make good memories that you can tell your children about. Like, oh, I was in college and I did this. Like, if every time I make a memory, I tell my friends, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna tell this story to my kids like in this way. So that's gonna be like that's the thing I aim with when I go out. I'm like, okay, I need a good story out of this. So that's what I'll say. Like, try and get a good story out of whatever you do.
Maybe you could write a good essay for your MBA application if you ever aspire
Yeah,
to do
exactly,
one of these stories.
definitely. Hmm.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much, Vyom. I really appreciate your time. I think this was a very wholesome chat about Babson